One thing, like I said, in the studio, we just experimented with all this. This was off the cuff, kind of like, hey, let's try this, see what, just kind of use instinct. I could use a little bit of like analog echo, and we had, oftentimes with BT Bam and Tommy, we have a pile of pedals that we borrow and stuff I have at the studio and stuff that he has, or we use, we'll just kind of, I just kind of get a vibe, kind of get an idea like, hey, I could use it, let's hook this up, and hey, you like that, you don't like that, it's just kind of a feel thing. Like I said, this tone might not work at all, but I've got the direct, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
We've got clean directs, we can always come back and redo it,
So do you generally like to commit to a tone?
No, like I said, I've heard a lot of people like to do that, and there's some elements to it, to the thing that I do commit to, but like I said, I specifically recorded the direct sounds because I don't want to commit.
Yeah.
It gives an opportunity, it gives you an out, you know what I'm saying? I like to try to get it, I like to spend some time and try to get it as close as possible to what it needs to be. But at the same time, it's just, that, like I said, it's an educated guess. You might get the final product. And like I said, oftentimes, the bands don't have money and time for pre-production sessions. And they might have, when Tommy was recording this, I didn't know if he had a whole orchestra programmed right there. That could have been there, and then it's like, I've gone with these really thick, high gain sounds, and then he's like, oh, I got this synth piece that's got 8 tracks, and then I got to figure out how to make that work, and it's like, all of a sudden, those tones that rocked by themselves, they don't rock anymore for that particular place in the mix, so it's, you never know, I mean, there could be things thrown at, so having the direct signals there as a backup, I think is essential, I just think it's, there's, I know I watched the Steve Evans Creative Life thing, and he really preaches to commit, but like he's an absolute master. He knows probably already that, hey, this is definitely going to work just because I'm awesome and I know. But with me, I feel more comfortable. I've gotten lucky a lot. We get lucky a lot with BT Bam.
Yeah.
But there's times I'm like, yeah, let me reamp that real quick with just a little bit less gain.
Yeah.
And,
it's good to have worst case scenario ways out of things.
Totally backup plans.
So, let me grab, there's a couple things for the lead that I typically use.
Do you generally bring in your pedals, the stuff that you
I
like
don't.
to play live, or do you just generally use
I don't really
stuff that
play. The
Jamie
thing
has?
is, I grew up playing guitar,
Yeah.
and then when obviously between the Bear and me, I focused only on vocals, and any guitar stuff was behind the scenes.
Okay.
So my gear, everything is out the window. Like I never kept up with all that. I just kept up with writing. That's all I ever focused on. So I honestly don't know a lot about gear. I mean, a lot of this stuff, I'm learning a lot today. And with pedals, I know what I like.
Yeah.
In my ear.
Sound-wise.
Yeah. So I personally don't have a lot of stuff. But I'll go over tomorrow. I do demo things on my own and just kind of, I try to get close to kind of what I'm hearing, just so Jamie has an idea how we can make that for real sound. A more professional sounding version of that. So I don't have a whole lot I bring in besides guitars and
I've apparently lost the item that I'm looking for. No, it's a little piece of cloth that we tie around, but we can honestly use anything.
To tie around right here?
Yes. Normally, like I said, I'll take a piece of T-shirt or a cloth material or something like that, and just tie it around the headstock to make sure that any of the open strings don't ring out.
We'll see if somebody can bring us something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we can demonstrate that later, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Cool.
Because I brought it with me, and I don't know where it is. It apparently fell out of the bag. But anyway, well, we'll go through it. Just have to play it clean, like magically.
that's fine. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, I think you'll be able to do it.
With all the distortion and everything, it won't be super noticeable.
Awesome. Let's do a little test track here.
Do you like that pickup?
I think we used a different pickup selection.
It's a little.
Yeah, that would be awesome. You're a lifesaver.
You like that?
Check
I like
it
that
out.
one better by itself, but as far as in the mix.
What about the middle? Let's try it.
Hold that up so we can see.
Yeah, this is basically, he hooked me up with a piece of felt, and Tommy knows this is pretty much exactly what, I have like pieces of T-shirt that I use or whatever. It's actually, I'll make it even smaller. Yeah, exactly, it's awesome. But yeah, my T-shirts are all old and like they've been used for years. And I had a white one that was like brown, you remember that one? Like it was used on like the first BT band. It's still around my studio.
Smell like palm sweat.
Yeah, exactly. No, but there are products that are made or whatever that that are actually you strap on with Velcro, and I had one of those, and I don't know where it's at, but this does the same thing basically. Like since there's any open strings in this, since there's no open strings, just to make sure there's none of the open strings ring through, we're just gonna tie it off, and it just kind of mutes the strings and helps keep the like stuff you would never notice live, like like open string noise. Sometimes I'll go as far as that noise or whatever. Sometimes I'll put foam in behind there if it's making a noise through the amp. Like if you're using high gain, sometimes you can hear that stuff. And the Floyd Roses, the springs, the tremolo systems, the springs in the back make noise and stuff you'd never notice live. But on a record, you don't want it on there, especially like with metal, the chugga parts or whatever. You'll have the stops and you want them to be clean. It's just good to do a whole bunch of ugly muffling, but it works. It helps get it cleaner. But yeah, Tommy, I'll just bring it in close to because this comes in right when the riff happens.
Right, well, yeah.
Cool. I'll just start at the bass, and
Okay.
just let me know about levels. This will be a test run. One thing for those watching, if you'll notice, I've got this set up stereo. I'm actually not recording stereo. This is the same signal of guitar or whatever, but there's a reason I do this, and I'll go over this in the mix. But I track 2 tracks of the lead, even though it's a mono track, and it looks stereo. But like I said, I'll do a synthetic offset thing to make it stereo sometimes, but sometimes not. But tracking it like this makes it quick, and it's kind of like
I see. I see what you're
seeing
saying.
into the future what I might do in the mix and having it set up for that. Just so people don't freak out and are like, hey, where's the stereo coming from? It's actually mono, just 2 monos panned left and right, so it still sounds mono.
There's a little spots.
How's the delay? Yeah, I think the beginning needs to be a little smoother.
Yeah.
But the delay, does it feel like it rings out too much
A
still?
little bit, yeah.
And again, this, like I said, it's educated guessing and whatever it feels like. But I've learned if it feels a certain way, it's, like I said, if it feels good, it usually is good. If something feels weird about it, usually there's something weird about it. So just, I've learned, I read I can't remember who the producer was, but it would really help me. He's like, just trust your gut. If your gut's saying, hey, something needs to be louder, make it louder. It's usually for a reason, And a lot of people starting out, you want to second guess yourself and be like, I don't know, is the kick drum too clicky or whatever? I mean, if something's just jumping out, then it probably is, it's probably for a reason. So, and that really, once I got that, it's really just helped me get better quicker and to get mixes happening, tones happening quicker. Like I said, for some reason, my gut said, man, the mix is a little too much. Yeah. Maybe not. I might have to reamp it later, but.
Better?
I like that better. I think
better.
the second phrase had a glitch maybe.
Okay.
Let me just punch you in just to make sure it's good. How'd you feel?
I think it was pretty good.
Cool. And again, like I said, this is reiteration on the quick punch thing. I have the quick punch enabled. And like I said, luckily we can see our transits because we got the direct signal. Right here's the beginning of the note. One quick note, if you notice, if you zoom in, like on the direct signal, it looks like that's the beginning of the note. It's actually not. The beginning of the note's here because this is the of the guitar.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Like if you edit it to here, you take away some of the pick attack. If you zoom in on it really hard, you can really kind of tell. See that?
Yeah.
You can see where the actual. This is the percussive of the pick attack, and
That's
this
crazy.
is the actual note. So yeah, I've seen people edit the guitars. Like I still quantize using it here as the time, but this should actually be a little ahead of the beat to sound proper. But I've seen a lot of people edit the guitars here and just edit this away, just take away the percussive, and then it sounds all. That's why the guitar sometimes you hear sounds almost synthy,
There's
like
no
a
attack,
synthesizer.
yeah.
Yeah, there's no natural pick attack. But yeah, so when you punch in, you definitely want to check to make sure you don't cut off any of your pick attack and things of that nature. Just zoom up and see that sucker. There we go. And it's a double pick attack there, but we'll deal with that later. One thing as I go along, like I said, I've got a habit of editing and mixing, and I'll talk about editing more. But there's some things you can do on the fly like this. We don't need this junk here, this noise. Just get rid of it. Like I said, I've been doing this so long, I just know, what I'm gonna. This all should be silent, so I'm just gonna clean that out real quick. But this helps it, like I said, sometimes I've thought there was the reason I'm doing this now, getting the big blocks. The performer will be playing or tracking a part, and I think I hear him play a noise, and really the noise is just on another track. So I kind of think you need to just get rid of.
Just so you know what you're
Just so
doing.
you know, yeah, it's like, oh, there wasn't a noise in this part, and make the guy do it again,
Yeah.
the girl, and it's like, and it was nothing wrong with it to begin with, so. And plus, it saves time, I try to multitask. And you want to hit the next chord?
Yeah, the whole. Let me do that under that, but it's real.
You want to go ahead and do the second?
Oh yeah.
Go ahead and do that. Because I want to check that tone. I think we did the same tone, but just to make sure.
Yeah, we did.
I like the first half. You want to punch in right
Yep.
there where the glitch happened? Something happened again, right? Yeah, let's try it one time. Same thing.
Fingers on pie.
Brian.
Yeah, and this is, like I said, this is a rock song. Tommy, kind of jokingly called it the grunge song, but that's why we're not going for absolute perfect.
Right.
We wanted to have that's a kind of a rocking vibe.
Some
It's got
vibe.
some fun entrances and exits and stuff. But at the same time, you don't want anything that could be construed as like, hey, that was a mistake. Sweet.
Cool.
I feel like that sounded solid. And you're pretty confident we use the same tone for the ba-da-da-da-da-da.
Oh, that tone. No, I don't think so. It's pretty dry because it has, in order for it to cut through.
Let me check out what we did here. I had an octave on. Yeah, cool. I forgot about that. Yeah, sorry to those of you at home or whatever. Like we recorded this, like what was it?
Well, they get to hear the original,
9 months
the
ago.
original session. So
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
It's kind of cool.
You're before anybody else.
Did we have that much delay?
We didn't have delay on it. Let's try it out.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why we used an octave. It just kind of sounded cool when we were messing
Yeah.
around. And I think we actually used that pedal, didn't we?
We did.
Or was it another?
No, yeah, there was
Who
a
knows?
few octave options we had on it.
But it was just a kind of a little neat accent. Just give it a little spice with a little octave. Same thing. I'm gonna do the pseudo stereo record. It's actually not stereo at all.
That's cool. I didn't know you did that.
Yeah, and I'll show. Like I said, when I mix, I'll show you. I've showed you before the 30 millisecond offset thing. For,
I do that with
for
vocals at
stereo
home,
to synthetic. This is the whole Beatles synthetics. But this sets it up so I don't have to like dupe tracks later and things like that, you know. Because it's something I do a lot, you know, like I do a synthetic stereo pan a lot on guitar texture put stuff, backing vocals, and I'll talk about that in the mix.